Well, today the truck is getting heated seats. I've already had the passenger side seat out and fixed it up. We'll take a look at the driver's side seat here in a minute. So the hardest part of this job is getting the rear seat bolts out. So they're like an 18 and then it's a 15 for the front. So the ones on the rear, only one of them is accessible to put lube on it from underneath, and they're exposed to the bottom of the truck. So one of them is going to be very hard on each side, if not both of the rear bolts. So you have to go and kind of get them in and out a little bit and probably use like a 2-foot bar to slowly get them out. With the passenger seat, you can, in my case, it's not powered, so you can kind of push it around and do whatever you need. But we'll take a look at the driver's seat and see the position it was in when I took it out. So this truck is not like pre-wired for heated seats, so we'll have a look at that as well. But basically, these connections go to the center seat, and they have their own kind of connector here. It looks like I could have probably just pulled that off the bottom of the seat and left it together. Then you got your airbag and your seat power here. I haven't disconnected the batteries. You should consider doing that. I'm not going to take responsibility if you set off all the airbags in your truck and write it off. So don't do that. This truck has under seat air, but not heated or cooled seats. And so we're going to add the heat, but we're not going to add any cooling to the seats. I'm putting the buttons right here because it's sort of reachable from both sides. I've seen them in different locations in different vehicles when they're added aftermarket. I want to be able to reach them from the driver's seat so that I don't have to crawl around to get to them. And if I have a passenger, I can point to where it is and they don't need to guess, because sometimes people put them down here. Sometimes people put them up in here. It doesn't particularly matter. And then I've run a cable. I've ran 2 cables here actually, but I only need 1 for the heated seats. They take about 6 amps each, so you can piggyback them together off one circuit and it's not a problem. Now for where to get the power from, the trucks will come pre-set up with fuses. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but I think 97 and 98 are 25 amp circuits for heated, and they're right here. So you can lift the fuse box out and shove a connector in there and connect it to the wire that you have run and just put it right factory wiring essentially. And let's take a look at the rest of the stuff I've got going on here. So I've decided to replace the cushion and the cover on this seat entirely because it's being chewed up pretty bad. And so in this case, you can see I'm using a Dorman heated seat kit. It's just this right here. So if you, in this case, I put it on and then I'm hog ringing the cover down to the seat base. And I'll tell you right now that the Dorman hog rings and tool is quite terrible. If you're going to do this more than once, I'd recommend buying proper hog rings and proper hog ring pliers, because these are just a nuisance. It's pretty hard to make any money at it, but I'm just doing it for myself. It's no big deal. And then so if you're going to add it to a vehicle without replacing the cushions, you would need to remove a certain number of hog rings in order to get the pad in there, and then you hog ring it back down so it's not loose on the seat. You can't tuck it in because there's like an inter hog ring bar that's sort of going at this space here. So that way you might, and it's pretty hard to shove it in because the glue on these things is super tacky and you can't have them all bunched up. So recommend breaking a bunch of hog rings out and going that way. In this case, just putting on a whole new cushion and seat base or gluing it to this one. It's not a big deal. So I got these off of an outfit in eBay. These are not OEM parts, but it's seems like they're pretty popular outfit. So hopefully they work out well. This truck's got 450,000 kilometers on it. So the seats on the driver's side is pretty worn out. You might get some color codes off of various components here, but it's actually on the door jamb. So the trim is what you're going to be looking for when you're ordering parts for your truck, for the seat covers and what have you. Now I've got the connectors kicking around somewhere. Electrical connector. Might have lost that, but basically, yeah, here they are. So you can get them from like an electronics retailer here. So the part numbers are right there. Automotive connectors, term YESC, female, 2.8 millimeter. And then I bought a group of them because I figure I might add other things to the truck. And they come like mounted for machine assembly, but you just clip them off and install them. So for the upper seat, what you'll do is remove the plastic shields on both sides, unzip the seat. You can pull it over for the most part. There's like some coarse Velcro going down these seams right here. But there will be an airbag on the exterior side that limits how much you can peel this up. But you can peel it up and get the part in like between here and down here, so the heated pad fits in there nicely. And I don't think there's any computers in the seat, because that can be a problem if the actual G-force indicator is in the seat and then you roll the seat over and you can set off all the airbags, but I did not have that happen in my case. There's other videos you can see about how to pick away at the seats for assembly, but it's relatively straightforward. There are some hidden Phillips head screws that you'll have to work your way into finding, and but it's not too big of a deal. And then you'll get the rest of the harness from Dorman to wrap it up. So you plug the two heated pads in here. There's going to be a relay for managing the on-off and the temperature with the switch. So between the switch and the relays, you can manage what heat you've got going on. And the benefit of the aftermarket kit is that you can just leave your heated seats on all winter, right? So if you got remote start in the truck, it'll turn on and have your heated seats on, which is an annoying thing with my previous vehicle, where you couldn't leave the heated seats on in my Jeep. I think in the Honda, the heated seats are always on, but I can't remember. But anyway, so that's the location. I'm just putting the switches. So I'll do the same on the other side. If you want to take this assembly out, it's not hard. You just take that tray out, and then there's some screws holding it down. So you have to be careful where you put this in so it doesn't interfere with this item here. So I'll carry on and then we'll get an update to the video in a minute. I got the seat base in for the most part here. We're running into a bit of trouble with the way this cover was manufactured. It doesn't quite match. So you'll see this is like the inner side of the seat here. It's got like two clips to grab onto the seat base. And then on this side here, this is like the outer side where the center line would be of the road. And this piece here is fairly far back. But on there you can see it's a touch forward for whatever reason, like compared to there. Could use a measuring tape, but it's landing on a variation of the seat frame here, which is causing me a bit of difficulty. And the same on here, so I'm not getting quite as desirable as results as I would have wished. I'm gonna have to cut this thing here off. It was actually off the truck when I pulled the other seat cover out, but just need to snip some of it off so that I can get on here. I don't feel that it's an issue with where the seat foam is sitting. I think I got it where it needs to be, because you wouldn't want to modify something just because you made a mistake. I feel like I'm going down the right path here compared to the way the other one was built. But that's coming together, and then it seems to be matching, considering the age of the top of the seat. I think that's reasonable. Get that. Probably find its natural position after a while, but it's coming together. I got the wire pushed in, so you have to lift out the bottom of the fuse base, and then there's a tab on the white piece, so you push in. If you can see it or not, there's a locking tab, I think right there. You gotta push it in and then lever it out, and then you can shove the wire, which is the one with the red marker on it, into fuse point 98, and it's a bit of a pain, so I'm going to do a spare wire at the same time, and I think we've got everything done at that point. Made the joints under the seat for the joining the two seats together. The relays and switches are all separate, and made some more joints here to extend things, so we're very close to turning this on. I just need to get my spare wire. So I ran the wire through the trough underneath the kick plate here, and then came through one of the open cutting areas in the carpet. So that's what the crimp looks like before you slide it into the connector. So I didn't do any soldering. It's a little messy. I see a whisker sticking out, but it'll be adequate to slide into that connector and then connect it back to the fuse panel. For whatever reason, I had to go back here the next day and add a relay for the heated steering wheel and heated seats fuses. I'm not too sure why, but my heated seats were on continuously and they weren't turning off. And it wasn't like when the lights go off. I waited like 15 minutes and the heated seats continued to be on, so I didn't like that. So I've ran, well, one relay for now, and I'll have to add another one for the second circuit if necessary. There was already like a branch here for a different relay that I removed, so I took it off of there. I think it's a red wire for the most part, like maybe third one over. You can kind of probe from one of these relays and figure out which one it is. I'm kind of surprised, but it is what it is. But so I've got 3 grounds here on this main ground. This is like a big guy coming from the battery or something, I'm not too sure what. And so I'll go prove it to you that it works. This is my spare circuit here. I just left butt connectors on it. I didn't do any heat shrink on anything. We'll see if it survives or not. If not, I can sneak back in and fix it. So you see, as soon as I turn on the key, there's a green for low, red for high, and one in the middle. So I can turn that on and leave it on. And I also confirmed, so the Honda has like hard switches like that, they're always on. Must be like a Mopar thing where they have their soft switches that reset every time you restart the vehicle. But so that's done. The seat is in. You can't really see a great look here, but the color is just a touch lighter than the truck, but this truck was filthy when I got it. I had to steam clean it several times to get it as clean as it is now. So that's sort of expected. It is nice and firm. It's the same firmness as the back, I would say. Then I sat in the passenger side and compared it. And so the passenger side might be a little bit softer from a bit of co-rider in here, but this is like a one-man truck from who I got it from. So it's mostly the driver's seat that got worn in. It's a little gappy here. There's a hidden bolt right here. and I just cut like a little nip in it and put the bolt through. So I probably pulled the cushion in a little bit. If I was to cut like a big hole like the previous cover had, it might not be as much of a gap here. Put the trim panel back in. Everything is working. The seats are comfortably warm, and it'll be a nice addition for the winter, especially when I get my remote start working. I've got a code I got to deal with before that happens. But so that's sort of it for adding the Dorman heated seats into the fuse panel using the proper clip that sits into the back of the fuse panel. So it's a nice clean install. And yeah, I'd recommend getting different hog rings and hog ring pliers rather than the Dorman one if you're going to do this more than once. But if you've got time, just use the hog rings they give you. Don't use their pliers or garbage. Just use some needle nose and you'll get it. And the seats back in, I put some copper anti-seize on the bolts before putting them back in on the back. The front ones are supposed to have blue Loctite on them. And I didn't put any grounds under the seat. I just ran my grounds back to the battery area. And I think that's all I have to say about this. So hopefully you found it useful, and thank you for watching.